On Quora, there is an intriguing question. Why are so many Chinese people atheists? What do they believe in instead of God? Among the top answers, one stands out. It takes us back to the era of the prehistoric Great Flood. In the Western history, the flood is often attributed to divine punishment. According to the Bible, God caused the flood to cleanse humanity of its sins. In preparation, people spent 120 years building an ark, Noah's Ark, designed to shelter the world's animals, plants, and humankind itself. In contrast, Chinese mythology tells a very different story. The flood wasn't seen as punishment from a deity, but as a natural disaster that needed to be conquered. It was Gun and later his son, Yu the Great, who led the Chinese people in a collective effort to manage the flood. Instead of relying on divine intervention, they worked tirelessly, harnessing their ingenuity and perseverance to overcome the catastrophe. Eventually, their efforts succeeded, and Yu became a legendary figure for his role in taming the waters. These two flood narratives reveal much about the differing belief systems of the East and the West. In the West, the focus often lies on faith in divine power, while in Chinese tradition, the emphasis is on human effort and resilience. So, why don't many Chinese people believe in a God? Let's start with a simple question. Do Chinese people believe in a God? Of course they do, and there are many gods in Chinese culture. But here's the key. Gods in China are seen as specialists in specific fields. That means if you want a child, worship Songzi Guanyin, the goddess of fertility. If you want wealth, go to the god of fortune. For food and warmth, turn to the kitchen god. Now comes the interesting part. Let's say a couple prays to Songzi Guanyin and finally has a child. They will often repay the deity to express their gratitude, perhaps by releasing animals or donating goods. But if their wish isn't granted, well, they will stop indulging the god. With so many gods in China, losing faith in one doesn't really matter. People simply move on to another. This is the Chinese attitude toward gods, a reciprocal relationship. People respect and worship gods, but the gods are expected to serve people in return. Each deity has their own performance metrics, and if they fail, even gods are not exempt from punishment. Take this historical story from the early 20th century. During the severe drought in Jinan, the warlord Zhang Zongchang went to the Dragon King temple to pray for rain on behalf of the people. But instead of offering incense or prayers, he walked straight up to the statue of the Dragon King and slapped it several times. Then he cursed, "Hey, old Dragon King, are you trying to kill us all by not sending rain?" Zhang even declared, "If it doesn't rain in 3 days, I will wage war against the heavens." When the drought persisted, Zhang kept his word. He stationed cannons at several locations and fired them at the sky. Strangely enough, after the bombardment, the sky darkened, and the torrential rain poured down that very night. For Chinese people, it's not about believing in gods, it's about whether the gods are effective. If a god can deliver results, like granting wealth or good fortune, people will worship them. This functional, results-oriented mindset differs greatly from the pure, unwavering faith of the devotees in many religions. This pragmatic approach is why major religions like Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, each deeply rooted in monotheistic devotion to the one true God, haven't gained as much influence in China. In contrast, the Chinese are happy to honor all gods, avoiding offense to any. If a particular god is believed to grant wishes, they will pay their respects, even if it's something as whimsical as internet famous koi spirit. This transactional relationship between humans and gods in China is more like a business deal. In essence, gods in Chinese culture are viewed as functional tools who are only as valuable as their ability to deliver results. The second reason is the secularization of imperial power. One of the key reasons China is often regarded as an atheist country lies in the secular nature of its imperial power. Unlike many Western nations where rulers depended heavily on religious institutions to legitimize their authority, Chinese emperors rarely allowed religion to dominate the governance. Instead, they utilized religion strategically as a tool to consolidate power, maintain social order, and stabilize the empire. Historically, Chinese rulers adopted a pragmatic approach to religion. They promoted certain beliefs not for pure faith, but for their utility in governance. For instance, during the Tang Dynasty, Emperor Wu Zetian proclaimed himself the reincarnation of Maitreya Buddha to justify her rule. By aligning himself with divine authority, she strengthened her claim to the throne. Similarly, during the Ming Dynasty, Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang employed Buddhist and Taoist teachings to propagate the idea that he was the son of heaven, while simultaneously restricting the influence of religious institutions to ensure they posed no threat to his reign. The third reason is ancestor worship. In Chinese culture, ancestors hold a sacred place that rivals and often surpasses the reverence given to gods, because for the Chinese, ancestors are not abstract divine figures, they are family. This deep-rooted tradition of ancestor worship has played a significant role in shaping China's secular identity. Take the example of Qingming Festival, a day dedicated to sweeping tombs and honoring one's ancestors. It's more than just a ritual. It's a family reunion that transcends time. By paying respects their forebears, people reinforce a sense of belongings and recognize the continuity of their lineage. Unlike worshipping distant, invisible gods, ancestor worship is deeply personal. The connection feels tangible because the people being honored were once part of the family, sharing the same joys, struggles, and hopes. Interestingly, this practice also reflects the Chinese emphasis on relationships and practical outcomes. Ancestors are believed to watch over their descendants, bringing blessings like academic success or career advancement. But the relationship isn't one-sided. Families maintain their bond with ancestors through regular offerings or rituals, creating a reciprocal dynamic that is less about blind faith and more about emotional and cultural connection. Here's the fun cultural insight. In China, insulting someone's ancestors is one of the worst offenses imaginable. It's akin to challenging the very core of their identity and family pride. This shows how much weight ancestor worship carries in Chinese society. It's less about divine power and more about maintaining the honor and unity of the family. By placing their faith in the continuity of family rather than distant gods, Chinese people have cultivated a belief system that satisfies emotional needs, strengthens family bonds, and stabilizes society. In this way, ancestor worship has become a distinctly human-centric alternative to traditional theistic religions, further reinforcing China's secular and pragmatic worldview. In conclusion, China's identity as an atheist nation is deeply intertwined with its unique cultural and historical roots. Unlike many countries where religions play a dominant role in shaping national consciousness, China has long favored a secular approach to governance, faith, and social order. This secularization of imperial power ensured that religion remained a tool for rulers rather than a challenge to their authority, while ancestor worship provided a deeply rooted, emotionally fulfilling belief system that prioritized family over distant deities. Furthermore, China's approach to the divine has always been pragmatic. Gods are revered for their utility, whether for health, wealth, or protection, rather than for spiritual transcendence. This pragmatic, transactional approach to religion has meant that faith in China is largely defined by the practical outcomes, not blind devotion.